Today's Subscriber Saturday or Sunday, whatever day you are seeing this idea, comes from Andrew Acevedo. I hope I said your name right, but it was biggest one-year wonder. Guys like Ike Davis, Mike Jacobs, and R.A. Dickey, guys like that. So in this video, I'm going to talk about some one-year wonders, some even one-month wonders from the New York Mets, especially ones that I remember. Now, as always, there are a ton of these guys, so we're just going to do some in this video. There always could be part twos. If there are any players that you remember, make sure to comment, and if you enjoyed this video, make sure to leave a like. And if you're new here, make sure to subscribe. Really makes my day. I appreciate all the support I get. Love talking to you guys in the comment section. So let's talk about these one-year wonders. At the end of the video, I'm going to give my reaction to the Seth Lugo injury, my thoughts on it, and what the Mets have to do following the Lugo injury. But to start off, let's talk about R.A. Dickey. And generally, in his few years as a Met, R.A. Dickey was a pretty good pitcher for New York, especially compared to the rest of his career. But the one big year that stands out is the Cy Young season in 2012. I mean, R.A. Dickey as a knuckleballer is someone who definitely was later on in his career when he came to the Mets. It pretty much came out of nowhere. Like, nobody thought that R.A. Dickey was going to be a Cy Young Award winner. And the fact that the Mets ended up trading R.A. Dickey to get Noah Syndergaard and Travis d'Arnaud, who were instrumental in the Mets' success for 2015 and then Syndergaard for 2016. Now, this is a big year for Noah, so he could have another very impactful year. He could be the Mets' X factor of the season. So this R.A. Dickey trade is still paying dividends now. Definitely one of the more memorable one-year wonders for the New York Mets because the guy won the Cy Young. In 2012, that was also the year that Ike Davis, we like Ike, hit 32 home runs. And as we know in a previous video, Ike Davis was never the same player after that. He was not able to hit 30 home runs again, but that was a nice season for him. The next guy I want to talk about is what I call a one-month wonder, and that is John Buck. And I remember him vividly because he had 9 home runs early in the season. First month, just bam, John Buck is knocking out all these home runs. And I was like, wow, did the Mets get themselves a pretty good catcher here? Look how good John Buck is doing. And then after that, John Buck, what the... You know, like, this guy was done for the rest of the year. Nothing close to that very first month of the season. So he was just extremely disappointing. And it's just someone that I think back of and I'm like, what a dummy I am. I thought he was good. Definitely was not. Now, a couple honorable mentions that I want to talk about. Marlon Anderson, he had a .319 average in 43 games. So I thought he was worth talking about just because he hit over 300. Scott Hairston, he had a year where he had .263 average and 20 home runs. And then another guy that I really liked a lot was TJ Rivera when he had his year above a 300 average. It's unfortunate that after the injury, TJ Rivera's major league career has never been the same. I mean, he's made some minor league signings, but we still haven't seen this guy perform on the big league level ever since then. And it's very disappointing. The saddest one-year wonder in my lifetime was Ryan Church. I mean, Ryan Church was off to a great start in the beginning of the season. He was batting over 300 and he had 9 home runs by mid-May. And Church was just swinging a hot bat. Like, you felt every time Ryan Church stepped up to the box, he was just going to do something big. I mean, that's how hot his bat was at the time. And then after that concussion happened, Ryan Church was never the same as a Met, and his entire career was never the same. So that definitely was a really sad one. It definitely could have been avoidable. You know, Chase Utley strikes again. So that was really a sad one. But Church was having a great year at the time. Next up, there's someone that Andrew mentioned in the comments, Mike Jacobs. I mean, he had 11 home runs in 30 games and had a .310 average. That was Mike Jacobs' first season in his major league career. His last season was also with the New York Mets. But in between, Mike Jacobs was much better with the Kansas City Royals and the Marlins. And I think that stands out the most about Mike Jacobs throughout his entire career were those forearms. Mike Jacobs' forearms were next level. Always wish I could have forearms like him. So that's what stands out the most to me. But he definitely, in those very few games, he played well for the New York Mets in his first year. The next Mike that had a notable season with the Mets was Mike Cameron, who hit 30 home runs in 2004. The next year wasn't quite as good. And Mike Cameron, for his career, was a solid player. But that 30 home runs, that was the one time he did it, was with the Mets. The next one-year wonder Mike is Mike Hampton, who in 2000 had a .314 ERA. Definitely helped the Mets get to the World Series in 2000. Now, the year before that, 1999, there were a few Met players that had big-time one-year wonder years. Guys like Robin Ventura, who had a .301 average and 32 home runs, 120 RBIs. So a monster season from Ventura. And then after that, he didn't really have any years that the full package, having the average and the power, having both. He wasn't able to do that quite again. Rickey Henderson, although he had a Hall of Fame career, he had one good year for the Mets in 99 also when he had a .315 average. To go along with that, Roger Cedeno, .313 average, and Darrell Hammond was in 339 average. So that's one of the reasons the Mets were able to get to the playoffs in 99 was because they had all of these players all batting over 300 at one time. I mean, that's what it takes to be a team that gets to the playoffs. You need players to get hot, and that was a perfect example. They had so many guys just swinging good bats at the time. It really helped elevate this team. Now, two guys from 1996 I want to talk about is Bernard Gilkey, who had a 317 average with 30 home runs and 117 RBIs, and Lance Johnson, who had a 333 average with 50 stolen bases. At the time, Lance Johnson was having a historical year where he was setting Mets records that some of them would eventually be broken by players like Jose Reyes and David Wright. Up next, Frank Viola in 1990. He had a 2.67 ERA, and Viola was a good pitcher in his career, but that 1 year really stood out above the other ones, especially when he was with the Mets. And then Bob Ojeda in 1986 had 18 wins and a 2.57 ERA. He was big for the Mets when they won the World Series in 1986, and just in general, Ojeda also had a good year in 1988, but the wins were not quite the same. And obviously, the team wasn't the same either, but still, 86 was one of the better pitching seasons in New York Mets history. So those are the guys I want to talk about for the one-year wonders. Now, let's talk about Seth Lugo. Came out this morning that there's some loose bodies, a bone spur, whatever, going on in Lugo's elbow from an MRI, which means that he is going to have surgery on that elbow and will not be able to throw for 6 weeks. Now, Seth Lugo is going to be out longer than 6 weeks because that's just when he could begin throwing. So he's going to have to build up his arm again and then just be able to pitch on a major league level. This really hurts because Seth Lugo is the Mets' best reliever, and he's very important to the team of Seth Lugo's caliber that have that command that in a big situation you have runners on base, Lugo could get you out of it. Lugo could go multiple innings. If you need to make a start, he could do that as well. Just a phenomenal pitcher and someone that the Mets really need. The hope is that you can get Lugo back by May, but regardless, you're still going to need to get another reliever. Even with Lugo, I want the Mets to do more for their bullpen. This is just a perfect example. Sign Trevor Rosenthal. Like, there's nothing to think about. Just get it done, because all these other pitchers you didn't sign because you have Mariano Diaz, so you're not allowed to get another closer. So just sign Trevor Rosenthal. He can fill in for Seth Lugo, and even when Lugo comes back, if Rosenthal is anywhere close to where he was in 2020, it would make a major difference for the Mets. You know, the fact that they're trying to trade Betances or trade Familia, maybe bring back Justin Wilson. I don't trust his bullpen right now. It's my biggest concern right now heading into the season. And now with Lugo down, it's an even bigger concern. So the Mets have got to do something. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Until the next one, be safe, be smart, be healthy. Let's go Mets, and stay healthy, Mets.